your second icebreaker speech. Let me ask, how well did everyone get to know Suresh in that speech? Would you say very well? Would you say good? Would you say not so good? Well, in my opinion, I think he did good, but I think he could have done better. And let me explain why. You started off by saying you were a tough kid growing up. And the first, I guess, 12 grades, you were in boarding school. I would have liked to know what made you such a tough kid. I would have liked to know a little bit more in depth what you were really about. And if you changed along the way, and at what point in your life as a teenager maybe, did you change? We heard about boarding school, but we never heard about your teenage years. So I was kind of interested in saying, okay, was he a tough kid all his life? How many kids did he beat up? Your learning experience, the whole story about the breakfast was funny, and I'm glad you put that in your speech. It was a good way to get our attention and to make us laugh. Then you jumped all the way into engineering, and we totally lost track of your teenage years and everything in high school years. But that's okay. You brought in the fact that your son was more like you when you were younger, and how it helped you develop more patience and be more tolerant with your child. So that was a good thing to convey to us, which we learned. You mentioned some things about your passion. You love to run. You actually ran a marathon, you said.
Half marathon.
Half marathon. Okay, good. You mentioned tennis, and you mentioned gardening. And I'm glad you mentioned gardening because I love to do gardening as well. You mentioned Toastmaster and how you can go ahead and generate some invigorating stuff to do in speaking, and you didn't know how quite well to do that, but now that this is your second term around, you're learning, and you've learned how to do that. A couple of things that I wanted to also state that I think you could have done is, one, as I noticed that you were up here, you were kind of doing a little bit of a slow sway. This way, and this way, and then this way. So I would just kind of like tone it down a little bit. If you're going to stand here, that's fine. If you want to move here, that's great. Talk a little bit from here, move over again here, and then talk a few minutes from here. That's great. Did you speak clearly and audibly? Yes, you did. Did you have a definite opening body conclusion? The opening was somewhat okay. I think this speech should have been really a really good way to define your opening and define your closure. Your closure was just a saying that mind can be your enemy or your best friend. I think you could have done something more with that closing. Other than that, you did very well. Thank you very much, and hope to hear your next speech again soon.